I used to love secondhand shopping. And the reason I love secondhand shopping is you go to a secondhand shop, a thrift store, usually it's a Goodwill for me, or you go to an estate sale, which is my favorite because then you get to check out somebody's house. It was an inexpensive, usually free activity. I don't expect to buy anything, but if I do find something, then it's a pleasant surprise. It's a treasure hunt. And pre-pandemic, secondhand shopping used to be fun. You would find stuff that is maybe not valuable to other people, but is valuable to you. You would buy items for a very good deal. Let me underline very good deal. You could get a t-shirt from the 90s for $2. You could get, let me just list off some of my secondhand shopping hall of fame. I purchased a barely working, very dirty, greasy Olivetti. It's like a typewriter from the 60s. I love the design. It's an Italian design, and I got it for $37 at an estate sale. I got a bunch of records for like $2 to $3 a pop. Once I even bought somebody's journal from like 1911 for like 12 bucks. It was a little pricier, you know, they let it go for 12 bucks, but that's like a historical document. And this girl from 1911, all she talked about was milking cows. But recently, I find myself going to estate sales less and less, and I definitely go to Goodwill less and less because I find that a lot of secondhand items now is not a good deal anymore. The typewriter that I purchased for $37 is now like worth $200. People are selling it for like $200, $300 on eBay. You can't even find a typewriter under $100 now. There was a typewriter revival in the 2010s during the hipster renaissance. There was like a time when typewriters were cool again, but now I don't really see anybody using any typewriters again. I don't even see that typewriters are popular. Like what's popular right now are the old MacBooks, cell phones from like the early 2000s. Typewriters have fallen by the wayside, and yet they're still very expensive. I challenge anybody to go to an estate sale and try to find a typewriter for $37. Let alone an Olivetti. So it seems like all the items that were considered a good deal because people just wanted to get rid of their stuff. Now everything has become worth a lot, whether it deserves its valuation or not. It seems like everything has become a collectible. So that's what we're going to talk about today. My name is Teresa. I used to thrift, and it breaks my heart to tell you that I don't really thrift that much anymore because buying stuff secondhand now costs more than buying something new. And I don't really want to buy anything new either because the quality is not as good as buying it secondhand. So I'm not buying anything at all. So that really sucks. But you know why? Because thrifting now sucks. It's been a while since I've gone to a Goodwill. I still donate from time to time to Goodwill, but I never go into the store. I've never seen any of the items I've donated in the actual store. And I've donated good items. I've donated like Ralph Lauren. I've donated J. Crew. And I wonder if it's because now that Goodwill has online auctions for certain brands, that if like my items landed up in an online auction instead of in the store. And that kind of pisses me off because I'm passing on actually good items that I've outgrown so that people could get them at a deal, because Goodwill is getting them for free. If they're getting it for free, why can't they sell this Ralph Lauren item for like $6? It makes me not want to donate to Goodwill anymore. So let me know if you guys have any suggestions of where to donate things that would actually help people nowadays. But I've seen countless videos of people going through the shelves and showing you that they're trying to sell some used medicine. In my memory, there was a soy sauce bottle minus the soy sauce, just the bottle, that they're trying to sell for like $10. Used gunky Suave lotion, you know, like the cheapest lotion out there that you could probably buy for like $2.99. They're trying to sell it for the same price as new. I've seen people go through the racks and find Target items that actually cost more at Goodwill than it did new at Target. So gone are the days where you could just shift through a rack and find a designer item next to a Target item, and they're both relatively the same price, because the goal is to take the free items donated to them and just get rid of it, sell it for like a very marked down price because it's free. There's no skin off their soup. It's no skin off their bones. That's like the purpose of garage sales, of estate sales, is your parents die or grandparents die, and somebody inherits the house and they just want to clean the house. Your time is worth more than rummaging through the house, and that's why you contract an estate sale company in order to get rid of all the items so that they could sell the house. That's the whole point, or like make whatever money you can off of it, but mostly just get rid of it all. Nowadays, I feel like that's not the case. Everything is now worth something. Everything is now eBayable. Gone are the days of a good deal. Every single item with a designer label, whether it's the ugliest item ever, now there's a market for it and everybody's flipping it, trying to sell it on Depop, Vinted, Poshmark, and we all lose because everything, used or new, is much more expensive. Okay, so I used to love, pre-pandemic, I used to love going to estate sales, and I would go not so much to buy anything, but I would go just to check out the person's house. The sweet spot is if it's a house in a rich neighborhood or it's like those big sprawling historical mansions, and I would just go to just kind of soak in the vibe, and I'm just honestly curious about what it's like inside somebody's home. I've seen some amazing eccentric things. I've been to a house where it was just stuck in the 80s. It looked like Scarface's mansion. I've been inside a home of I think the person who used to live there used to be a Disney Imagineer from the 50s. He had a room in his house that was literally modeled as a cave. There was a home of a puppeteer and he made automatons. It's amazing. It's amazing what you can learn from somebody in their home. During estate sales, there's always resellers. Some dude standing in front of the records or like just hogging all the records. Or there's like always some guy standing in front of a bookcase scanning books to see if, like most of the time, to be honest with you, most of the time, a lot of books have no resale value. I don't even know what he's wasting his time scanning books for, because even if you do find a book that has some value, you have to find a buyer for that specific book, for that specific edition. Trust me, I'm a writer. A lot of books have no resale value. Strike that. ARCs are being sold on the secondary market for an incredibly marked up price. How much is your soul worth, you greedy motherfucker? Everybody just kind of neglects the Christmas room. Not only has thrifting in thrift stores gone downhill, estate sales have gone downhill. Like, I don't even go to estate sales anymore because after the pandemic, they've all moved to online auctions now. At least the good stuff has moved to online auctions and everything is probably all picked over. And that defeats the purpose because I just want to go into somebody's house and look around. And that is no more. So I'm mourning the death of my favorite activity. Everything under the sun is now a collectible. Like, everything is a collectible. It seems like everything from the 90s, and I don't know if it's just because I'm attuned to this, because I have fond nostalgia for the 90s. Everything from the 90s is now a collectible, and moving on into the early 2000s. I've seen somebody try to sell these gum. Somebody's trying to sell this tin. Back in the 90s, when you buy this gum, I don't know if you kept the tin, but sometimes you just throw away the tin. It was just considered packaging trash. I've seen people trying to revitalize 90s nail polish, use nail polish from the 90s. Now it's vintage nail polish. This fruity lip gloss is now being sold too. Recently, I'm like really into looking at 90s stationery because that's always what I was into when I was a kid, just stationery items. Not that I want to buy any of them. I just like looking at them. Okay, I am your perfect customer if you're selling 90s stationery, but I'm not going to buy it. I don't care about owning it. I just like looking at the photos of it. So if you have these items, just take a photo of it and I'll just look at it. But I don't need to like own a 30-year-old pen. I used to use these neon pens in 7th grade. I don't think you were supposed to use neon pens for our homework, but I did anyways. Somebody's got like a package of them unopened, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, who is this person trying to sell these pens for like $20 now? Why buy a pack of pens and then not open them? Or get into that. We'll get into the plastic sealed life we're all living in now. Somebody out there, some strange person out there bought some pens, never to have opened them, trying to make it a collectible. I had a Panasonic CD player. That's in a museum. Somebody's also trying to make that into a collectible. The old fish tanks with the scrolling fish, a toy of the early 2000s. Now that's highly coveted as well. It's like everything under the sun that's over 20 years old is now a collectible. And it makes me wonder, should it be? What is somebody going to do if they spent $30 to buy some some old pens from the 90s. Are they going to open up the bag that's been sealed for all these years and use these pens like as if they're just a normal pen? Probably not. I feel like if you spent that much money on it, you probably just keep it in its original packaging. And I think that's kind of sad. I think one of the saddest things when you think about it is an adult with a bunch of toys that are vacuum sealed in its original packaging because they have to keep it pristine so that they can sell it at some point to somebody who would probably not even open that toy. You know, I feel like toys are meant to be played with. You're supposed to get them bent and dirtied. I don't know if any of your parents ever kept their furniture in plastic wrap. Not my parents, but I did go to a friend's house when I was in high school, and in her parents' like living room set was all encased in plastic, so we couldn't sit there. You know, the whole bricks and minifigs controversy. I'm not going to get into the whole story right now. There's plenty of places, you probably already heard the whole story. There's plenty of places on YouTube where you could watch the whole story go down. It's a doozy. It's complicated. But I was thinking like the original collector, he has like a $200,000 collection of Star Wars Lego sets unopened. It's pristine in its box, never opened. Now they're worth money. I don't know if you should be proud of that. Everybody's like, that's so commendable. And I'm like, what's commendable about it? It's in mint condition. I'm like, no, it's sad because he bought a bunch of Legos that he never built or played with. So what is the point? You're just a custodian. You're just holding it so that you can sell it to the next person who may not even get enjoyment out of it either. What is the point of having good china versus the plates you normally use? It's saying your family that you see all the time is not good enough for the good china. It's like for guests that you're trying to impress that won't be impressed. What is the point of keeping everything so precious and vacuum sealed? You know, at the end of the day, you're going to be dead. Take off the plastic wrap and sit on your couch. Use your good china. Open your Lego sets, open your Pokemon cards, trade them, slam them down, play with your goddamn toys. Live your life, mess them up so that resellers can't sell them. There should be nothing in mint condition. Honestly, I've arrived at the philosophy that if a life is well lived, there should be nothing that you own that is in mint condition. Even if you have a car and it's in mint condition because you never drive it because it's too precious to drive, you can't take it into the parking lot because somebody might dent it, somebody might push a shopping cart into it. The car that is messed up, like my car, I'm getting out there, I'm driving this car, driving it into compact parking spaces, and people are opening their door into my car, which really sucks, but you know, it's a battle scar.
Huh, that isn't so bad. You'll be able to buff that out no problem.
Put the miles on your car. Drive the car. Why would you have this vehicle if you don't even like to drive it? I'm never precious with my books. I used to highlight things. I used to bend the pages. Instead of using a bookmark, I used to bend the corner of the page. Toys from my childhood are messed up. I've put chapstick in the hair of my Barbies. I decided to mousse her hair with the only thing I had available on me right at the moment, which is not mousse, but chapstick. So I've chapsticked her hair, and then that kind of messed it up. So I decided to give her a haircut, and now she has no hair. So this Barbie from the 90s can't be resold. It was taken out of its package, and I played with it. And did I ever give her a makeover? So there's nothing that I own that is in mint condition, which is why my husband is like, we can't have nice things because of you. So then he won't allow me to touch his toys. Once we were looking through his childhood toys and I opened up, it was like the Power Rangers version of a Polly Pocket. It was like Lord Zed's lair. And I opened it up and I think I lost Lord Zed and the look on his face. So I have actually been forbidden from touching any of his things because his nickname for me is like the tornado. There's a perfect storm of reasons why thrifting or secondhand is no longer fun anymore. Number one being the flood of fast fashion that has like saturated Goodwills and other thrift stores all around the country. We've always had fast fashion before. We've always had Forever 21 or Zara, but the speed and volume of which we're able to buy fast fashion items online has ramped up within the past couple of years, is now flooding the secondhand market. The quality of our items have noticeably depreciated. When I was a kid in the 90s and like into my teenage years in the early 2000s, I never really bought secondhand because there was really no need to. Let's say I go to Target, there would always be some kind of sale. Their in-style items would always end up in the clearance rack. They would be heavily marked down to like $3 sometimes, $5 to $3. And that was always the thrill of the hunt for me, is to find a top that I saw in the new arrivals section marked down from used to be $10, was marked down to $3. It's still in fashion. Some of the clothes that I had, I would wear for several years without wear and tear. Same with clothes I bought from Ross or like Old Navy back in the early 2000s. Nowadays I see, like, you just feel it, the noticeable decline in quality, which contributes to a feeling of scarcity. Clothes made back then were made with more natural materials. Not all of it. I mean, there was still fast fashion, but even the fast fashion was more durable than the fast fashion now. There's like a tier of quality of fast fashion. I've purchased some stuff from Forever 21 back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. I've been able to stretch it out for like 5, 6, 7 years. I recall there was like this red dress that I bought in the year 2000 and I was still wearing in like 2010, like 10 years worth. Now I can't even imagine buying fast fashion and expecting it to last over 10 years. I don't know if it was just in my own little bubble, but when I was growing up, nobody really thrifted. And those who did thrift, they were considered like the quirky girl. If you recall Friends, I feel like Phoebe, she would be a character that would thrift. Like I would receive hand-me-downs from older cousins and I would pass on hand-me-downs to younger cousins. But for the most part, we didn't thrift. And there was also a feeling of stigma about it. Buying secondhand was for if you were more unfortunate. Lower middle class is where I would place us on the socioeconomic ladder growing up. We have like our dignity about us or something. We're not so poor that we have to go to Goodwill. We could buy something new. We could buy something from Kmart, the clearance section of Kmart or the clearance section of Target. At least it's new. If we can help not buying something used, then we saved our dignity. I'm sorry if that sounds elitist, but you have to understand, you grew up a lower middle class. The only thing you have is your dignity, and you could at least say, I don't need charity. I don't need to go to the charity shop. I can buy something new. There was a little bit of stigma from buying used. Okay, if you can afford it, just leave the secondhand items to people who really need it. I've also known some friends growing up that would never wear anything secondhand, not because they're rich, but because they're really grossed out by the thrift shop smell, the old clothes, mothball smell. And in my lifetime, I've seen the stigma around buying secondhand disappear. More and more people are doing it. The word is out. Thrifting is cool. Thrifting is now a trend. And it's a different mindset, for better or for worse. Nowadays, whenever I see videos of streetwear, like, where did you get that? Where did you, 90% of well-dressed people, well, I would say even 100% of fashionable people bought their items secondhand, because that's how you show that you've put together an outfit. Not because you're buying the season's hottest item. It's because you're putting together an outfit with a story behind it. This is from my mom's closet. This is a Ferragamo coat mixed with these boots from ASOS. That's how you can tell that somebody is fashionable, because they can mix both high designer brands and low, and they buy things secondhand mixed with new. The branding around thrifting, what you call the activity, has changed. It's the way that we've now framed it. If you frame it as we're going to the charity shop, it sounds a lot less pleasant and a lot less stylish than we're going thrifting. And then thrifting is like now vintage shopping. If you say I am buying secondhand, that sounds like you're environmentally responsible, versus I'm buying used clothes. I'm gonna go buy you some used clothes. That sounds like you're poor. So thrifting has exploded in trendiness, and along with that, the ease with which one can sell items from your closet. Previously, if it was not easy for anybody to list these items on any of these apps, if you're just decluttering, cleaning out your closet, you just take a big pile of clothes, donate them. But now you can recoup some money out of it. And there are those who have turned secondhand clothing into like a side hustle. It's a big contribution to why thrift stores are picked over. So I follow some accounts that specializes in like a 90s room. They're recreating their childhood room from the 90s. I also follow some Y2K Frutiger Aero, this underwater bubble aesthetic, simply because I enjoy the aesthetics. But then I was thinking the creator must be pressured to always purchase something new or thrift something from the 90s. They're probably at a point where they're just buying this stuff off eBay. Their viewers will eventually grow tired of looking at the same old collection of like 90s stationery or 90s boy band posters, that they have to go out to thrift and source new 90s related items. A lot of their videos also include them going to the thrift store, browsing the shelves for anything 90s related, and they might even purchase it whether they want to or not. There's also accounts that specifically their whole content is to go to thrift stores and show you the cool things you could buy, what great deals you can have. All of this contributes in some way, shape, or form to thrift stores being now picked over and the experience sucking. On the one hand, they've made thrifting cool, and that's a problem. If you have a favorite thrift store or favorite Goodwill that you love that always stocks great items at a reasonable price, and then you start to film that store for content, you've shared your best kept secret and now everybody knows about it. Don't be surprised if next time you visit it, it's all picked over because the secret's out. Then they're incentivized to seek out another thrift store that's off the beaten path in order to make content that somebody hasn't seen before. They have to go out to somebody else's best kept secret thrift store. So there is something to be said about gatekeeping. I never thought to say that gatekeeping is good, but the fact that a lot of creators want to be helpful, whether they genuinely want to be helpful or not, and showing you the best restaurants or the best tourist destinations, that's why everything's so crowded. That's why a lot of tourist destinations are now insufferable. You're like, Teresa, but how would I know about that great parking spot? How would I know about the secret thrift shop? It won't hurt you not to know, because if you don't know about it, then it won't hurt you. You pay $10 more for parking. That's your problem. That's your problem for not researching. And that's another thing. You could find these good deals or you could find these budget life hacks or whatever back then if you were resourceful enough to do your research, do your due diligence. But with algorithms as it is, it just kind of served up to a lot of people that didn't do their research. And now wherever you go, there's lines, there's a bunch of people, there's people that don't know how to act in public. Now you have to like elbow your way through a mosh pit of people trying to buy some Pyrex or something. I heard that now Pyrex, vintage Pyrex dishes, casserole dishes or whatever, are now sought after because of several social media posts. Before, you see them on the shelves of the thrift store and nobody wants them. They're practically giving them away. You can't even pay me to take this. And now somebody's trying to sell it for like $100. Now I'm seeing people selling like a bag of 90s pens, like some of them don't even have caps on them, and they're selling them for like $50 for a grab bag of pens that don't work. And I would just have to say, like, a lot of the 90s pens, a lot of Lisa Frank pens, honestly, they didn't even work while they were new. Which brings us to resellers. There's more resellers than ever before. There's more people waiting in line at 5 a.m. or even earlier. There's more stampedes. There's more fights. There's more people swiping up toys or collectibles or collectible Pokemon cards from children. I mean, I have nothing against reselling things if you already have that item in your possession or you already have a collection in your possession and you're just done with it. You need some extra cash and you need to just offload it. Yeah, list your Lego collection on eBay or something. But I am against, I don't know, I guess like people lining up and then buying out the stock so that nobody else could get any. It's like you snooze, you lose. One of the saddest videos I've ever seen, this reseller, an adult, greedy, scooping up all the Pokemon cards so that this kid doesn't even get one pack.
Man, we cleared them out, baby. Them kids.
This guy, I don't even know if he likes Pokemon, and yet they're buying it up from people who just wants one, that just wants to enjoy it. What's worse, they're taking it from kids. Okay, we as adults, as millennial adults, middle-aged millennials, we've indulged in our childhood nostalgia. Will this kid even have any nostalgia left? Maybe it'll instill in him this trauma over Pokemon cards, and then when he grows up, he'll just have bad memories of trying to buy a set of Pokemon cards and then some adult acting like a fool, sweeping up the whole shelf and leaving them with nothing. I also can't help but think that the proliferation of resellers and the viciousness in which they try to acquire their items, this is a symptom of a sick and desperate society filled with desperate, sad, unemployed people. If wages caught up with the cost of living, if the cost of living wasn't so overly inflated, if people had a secure job, and honestly, today, no job is really secure. Like if they had a pension, it's been a long time since anybody had a pension, they wouldn't have to work all these side hustles. Then they wouldn't have to fight each other over Pokemon cards or fight each other over Stanley Cups or buy up dried up 90s pens and try to sell them for 50 bucks. Nostalgia is actually kind of bad for society. Why do we even want to live in the 80s or the 90s? Why do we even think about the past if the present was so great? If the quality of clothes were on par with the way they were in the 90s, even for a supposed fast fashion, then we wouldn't have to buy secondhand just for the quality. If we had fun and innovative design, we wouldn't have to buy cell phones from the early 2000s or like transparent tech just to feel happy. If everybody had a stable job, then we wouldn't need a second job and nobody would need to resell anything. Honestly, if we all had something to look forward to, then we wouldn't even look into the past. Come to think of it, nostalgia is a symptom of a sick, diseased civilization. So if you've made it this far, then drop this sock emoji in the comments down below. Hopefully socks won't become a collectible anytime soon. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you've enjoyed me, then consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see ya next time. Tap, 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 tap. I feel like, ooh, this cat feels really good. Tap, 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 tap. But before, okay. This cat just feels so good in my hand. I don't know what to say. This is a symptom of a sad, sick society, a sad, sick, disease civilization. Too much nostalgia is toxic. Too much nostalgia is toxic. I'm just gonna call it toxic nostalgia. Lord Zed fell out, and it fell down like a drain. I've also lost some of his marbles. So what have we learned here? And personally, I don't give a shit about Pokemon, to be honest. I only like anime with cute guys in it.